Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. This is episode number 434. Today, I'm talking about how to uplevel your marketing game. Now let's dive in. Have you already found business success but feel lonely at the top? Or do you feel like you're at a place in your business where others just don't get it? Or maybe you feel like you have to make yourself smaller in order for others to not feel less than. Or maybe just a little bit of all three? But with all that said, there is good news because I've been there and I see you, sister. I'm Taylor Bradford, the torchbearer of this podcast and sisterhood, and I'm here to lead and inspire you to stay purposely aligned in the success you have found and provide you with support, guidance, and a sisterhood to keep going. Because I do get it. Your business journey isn't meant to be traveled alone. So grab a notebook, your favorite pen, and a bevy, and let's dive into this together with this latest podcast episode. Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative and me. Hello, welcome to episode number 434. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, it's all about how we can up-level our marketing game, our marketing plan for our business, and figure out what we can leverage to do something different, do something better, do a complete 180, whatever that might be for you. That's what this episode is all about. Before we get started, remember I've got a book out that you can purchase, Pillars and Purpose, How to Build a Business That Works for You. You can grab a copy of that by going to bossgirlcreative.com/pillars book. That's pillars with an S, book. To snag a copy. I have a Kindle version and I have a print version, so you get to choose. Again, bossgirlcreative.com/pillars book. Now let's dive into this week's social media headlines. Social media headline number 1, social apps continue to face difficulties in implementing shopping, underlining the challenge for X. Facilitating payments and shopping would be a big win for social apps, but regulators are less than enthused. Social media headline number 2, X may be developing an ad-free version of its premium subscription package. Would you pay for an ad-free version of X, formerly known as Twitter? Social media headline number 3, LinkedIn adds new text accessibility options for LinkedIn publisher posts. The new options will enable readers with visual impairments to engage with more content. And that wraps up this week's social media headlines. So let's dive into how we can leverage ourselves to have a stronger marketing plan for our businesses. Now, social media is not the only way we can market what it is that we do. Email is a great option, as is your website and your blog. So let's chat about how we can leverage the different buying cycles of a consumer and what content is best served in that particular phase. So let's first talk about the buying cycle. So there are different steps in the buying cycle. First is your awareness, the consideration, the purchase, and then after the sale. And so content or marketing content for each of these can be different because the goal in each of them is different. It's to continue to push the customer through those steps of the buying cycle. So your points of entry to get somebody into your sales funnel is, if you're out doing networking events, organic search for the thing that you offer, referrals from people, and then also social media. So within the awareness bucket, you need to be conveying a strong, well-defined message about who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. Now, if you struggle with this, I'm going to plug my book again, Pillars and Purpose, How to Build a Business That Works for You. Grab a copy, bossgirlcreative.com/pillars with an S book, Pillars book, to grab a copy, because this will help you. That is what my pillars are all about. In the next bucket is consideration. And this is where you're going to inform about what it is they're struggling with, or whatever it is, the solution that you are providing for your consumer. And you're going to position yourself as being the thing that they want, because you are solving their problem or you're providing them a solution. So focus on delivering value before you actually focus on asking for the sale, because again, they're in the consideration mindset. Then once they purchase, so make the pitch, get them to buy, but don't sell the actual thing that you sell. Sell the solution to the thing that they're looking for. I think that's where a lot of us get hung up, is we are just pushing the product that we offer and not actually providing a solution. So with my book, as an example, my solution for you is you have to have a strong business foundation. You will not last in business without building that. And there are 9 pillars that are a part of building a strong business foundation. Once you have your pillars in place, your sales funnel will just do what it's supposed to do within these cycles of a buyer. So that awareness, that consideration, the purchase, and then after the sale, you will know what to do in order to create that and have a really fluid moment for your consumers. So phase 1, the awareness. In order for someone to buy from you, they have to know that they have a problem in the first place. They're not just going to buy something from you because they don't have a problem. They're only buying because they're solving a need for themselves. And the length of this particular stage is going to depend on what it is that you offer, first of all, and what it is that the buyer is going through in their life. Within this first stage, they are the furthest away from making a decision on what it is that they need. So content that appeals to customers in this particular phase is building relationships, creating value, making yourself known to them as being this person in the space. So it's almost like you're giving your hand out for a handshake. Hey, I'm Taylor. Nice to meet you. I'm so glad you're here. Let me show you what I can do for you. And just putting out that valuable content and being consistent. Phase 2 is consideration. Okay, now they're considering. So they have identified that they need help, that they want a solution, that they have a problem that they need fixing. And in the consideration stage, they're looking to now fix that. The content that appeals most to people in the consideration stage is value-packed content that helps them solve the problem they're having and at the same time aligns your business to their needs. Think of this particular stage as if you are showing off the parts of your business that make it so special that the buyer can feel confident in what it is that you're selling. The thing that you have is the answer that they've been looking for. In phase 3, the actual purchase phase, this is the third phase, and they've already come to like, know, and trust you because you've developed that through the first 2 phases. But now they have to make a decision on whether or not to buy from you. It's important to point out that some customers will get to this stage and just not buy from you. And that's not you, it's kind of them, but it just will be what it is. But for others, it may seem like they cannot believe they waited so long and that they buy from you right away. So think of this stage as if the buyer grasps the value of what your brand is and that what it is that you've been sharing, the messaging, the marketing, the things that you've been putting out into the world is like solving the thing for them and they can't wait to buy. Like, oh my gosh, holy grail, this is what I need. And then the 4th stage of the buying process is after the sale. And we know that customers who are easiest and least expensive to sell to are the ones that have already made the purchase. It was a no-brainer for them. But you still want to nurture those people. You want to nurture everybody that becomes a buyer from you if you're able to get that data. The unfortunate part for me in selling a book on Amazon is I don't know who the buyer is until I get feedback somehow, whether it's they reach out to me on social media or they send me an email or they join my inner circle, whatever it might be. I don't know who those buyers are until they signal back to me that they are a buyer. That's the hardest thing about selling on somebody else's platform. But your buyers have overcome everything to now have a relationship with you, and you can extend that relationship with them by continuing to nurture it. So you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row when it comes to the buying cycle. Do you have an email list? Your email list is going to be the bread and butter thing. It's the thing that people can't ever take away from you. You have full control over it. Not everyone will always open your emails, but at least seeing your email in their inbox is still an acknowledgement that you exist, which is a good thing because it means it's still a touch point for that customer. And if you think about it, that person sitting on your email list is greater than somebody that may or may not see your content out on social media because you don't control the algorithms, but you do control your email list. And if you can nurture people long enough for them to remember that you exist, then you have a warm lead. There's still a warm lead. They're still sitting on your email list. However, I do think it's very important every 3 to 6 months, you determine what that time frame is for you to clean up your list because you truly cannot sell to dead air. And that is something that I am really, really strongly, I'm going to get on my soapbox and say you can't sell to dead air. So don't be afraid to clean up your email list every 3 to 6 months. Again, you pick the time frame. So just a quick statistic, if you're curious about what average open rates are for email, if you're hitting anywhere in the 25% on up mark, you're doing something right. I know that that's a really low number, but if that's just average, if you can get 25% open rates on your emails, then you are doing something right. Another thing to consider having is a Google My Business listing. Again, that's just something that allows you to have another touch point to people out in the universe. You can have one whether or not you actually have a physical location. So if you are oh, but I sell online, I don't have a physical store, you can still have a Google My Business listing and just say you're online. You don't have a physical store. And this is just a great indicator out in the land of Google when people are searching for the thing that you have. And what's nice about Google My Business listing is that you're able to add posts to consistently communicate to people who might be looking for the thing that you sell. And that can be text posts, it can be photos, you can put out coupon codes, you can put out sales. So there are really some robust tools that you can utilize with Google My Business. If you don't have a listing already, I encourage you to get one. And then finally, I know I've talked about this in the past. You've got 433 other episodes to listen to in my full catalog. I realize if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it's going to only show my last 100 episodes. But if you go to my website, bossgirlcreative.com, you're going to see all 434 in the episode guide. And they're all categorized based on the topic of the actual podcast episodes. So if you want business podcast episodes or blog podcast episodes, they're all categorized based on the type of episode that I have created now and in the past. So I'm talking about a blog. And yes, you've got to have a blog. Whether or not you produce a bunch of content, that's a different story. But having a blog gives regular updates to people that want to follow along. They can subscribe to your RSS feed so they can be in the know when you write something new. But a blog is a really great tool, not only for search engine optimization, for people to find you that are searching on Google, but it's just a great thing to trigger to Google that you are a living human creature that is constantly selling, and yes, you're in business. So having some signals by creating content, whether it's monthly content, weekly content, daily content, whatever it might be, having a blog is a very important tool to be utilizing within your marketing plan. And if you're not already doing that, or if you haven't been consistent with it, I'm going to encourage you to look into that. So 3 things: having an email list, having a Google My Business listing, and having a blog. These are all things that you must have that you can leverage in the buying cycle, and also just to create authority for you in the niche that you're in. Having all of these 3 are going to help propel you forward in business. So I don't want you to rely too much on social media. Again, we can't control that, but everything that I've talked about today, you do have full control over outside of Google showing your listing. Your email list, full control. Your blog, full control. Google My Business listing, you do have the opportunity to share updates. You can do mini blog posts. You can feature customers. Make sure that you're constantly pushing content out to your Google My Business listing, because it's just another platform for people to find you. So don't put all of your eggs into the social media basket. Literally, again, we have no control over that. And I think that we have become so ingrained with this is where we market our things that we forget we don't have the control over it. We can't help when Instagram decides to do something different, but what we can help is the things we can control, and we can direct people back to the things we want them seeing. That is what social media is truly there for, is to direct them back to where you want people to go. If your content isn't directing them back into a sales funnel of your creating, then that's where you need to start. Because social media is just kind of the lipstick on the pig. It's nice. It helps showcase who you are and what you do. But at the end of the day, the goal is to sell the thing that you created, right? And sometimes it's going to be really hard to do just through social media alone. So having these 3 things, a blog, an email list, and updating a Google My Business listing consistently, is going to help game change what it is that you're doing in your marketing plan. So go forth and start creating, start leveraging the thing that you may have been having slip through the cracks. Let's create some killer content moving forward. This is towards the end of 2023. We are actually wrapping up the last quarter of 2023. So get to it. Leverage these 3 things that I just talked about that will help you get people into your buying cycle, into your sales funnel. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found it inspiring or you're just ready to take action, I hope that you go forth and do that. I also hope that you'll consider sharing it with somebody else who's in the business trenches just like you and just like me. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this week. Oh, wait, before I go, thank you truly for your support of my own business journey and this podcast, The Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur. If you know another entrepreneur who is in the same business trenches, who has already found success but might be feeling a bit lonely in their journey, my hope is that you'll share this podcast and this sisterhood with them. Because this, what we do day in and day out, isn't meant to be done alone. Speaking of lonely, if you're ready to squash the business journey loneliness, stop what you're doing right now and join the sisterhood. Visit bossgirlcreative.com/sisterhood. I can't wait to see you in there.